Well, good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome back to Me and My Shadow. Tim here, your host, and the Shadow, of course. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about an important safety skill. That important safety skill is actually emergency braking. Now, you might ask yourself, how often do you have to use emergency braking, whatever? Quite often, actually, into traffic I drive in. You can talk to a lot of guys, and a lot of guys will tell you, hey, you know what, I just use my front brake and my front brake only. Don't ever use the rear brake. Well, that's dead wrong. Let me tell you why. About 70% of your stopping power is in your rear brake. That leaves about 30% on the rear brake. But if 70% of your stopping power, say you're doing 40 miles an hour, that weight is going to shift. If you're just doing nothing but grabbing front brake, that weight is going to shift straight down onto your front tire. And if you happen to be turned or there's gravel in the road, leaves, wet grass, clippings, things like that, that's going to end up being a bad day. So in any kind of braking situation, just normal stopping, whatever, you want to apply your front brake and your rear brake evenly. Now this is going to be true as well when you're doing your emergency stopping. A car suddenly juts out in front of you at an intersection. You may have a deer or a dog or somebody run out something like that, a kid run out in the middle of the road. If you don't really have any time to stop, suddenly the last thing you want to do is stab those brakes, grab those brakes. The first thing you want to do is apply even pressure on both your front brake and your rear brake. And the best way to do it is a countdown. Let me just explain it to you this way. You've got front brake, clutch, rear brake down here, right? So if you have to stop suddenly, the first thing you want to do is clutch in, downshift all the way down into first gear, kill your bike while you're at it, downshift all the way into first gear, and begin applying both front and rear brake pressure at the same time. Now, when you apply this, it's like squeezing an orange or squeezing something. If you just grab an orange and you squeeze it really fast, all you're going to do is get everything everywhere, right? But pretend that you're trying to squeeze an orange into a glass and you don't want to make a big mess. So you're going to squeeze a little bit slowly, but you're going to continue putting pressure on. The best way to practice this is maybe doing a countdown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time you get to 5, you should be all the way stopped. Now, you're going to apply front and rear brake at the same time for the reasons that I mentioned, because you don't want all the weight of the bike, especially if you're traveling 30, 40 miles an hour and you get a 500-pound vehicle plus your weight on there. You don't want the vehicle, all that stopping force and everything to be applied to the front. You want it as evenly distributed as possible. Another thing is to make sure that your head is up, your seating position is straight, and that your eyes are forward, okay? Keep your head up at all times, and that should be true of any time you're riding a motorcycle. Keep your head up, watch where you're going. Don't be looking down at your instruments and things like that, okay? So let me go ahead and demonstrate this the best way I can. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run up here. Using these lines, I'm just going to pick a line. And also, if you're new to this, start out really slow. Don't try this at real high speeds. Don't try it at 30, 40 miles an hour until you can get the technique down to a level to where you're really comfortable with. The idea is that you have nothing but this like second nature to you. And this has saved me more than once. And again, guys, I'm no expert, but this is what helped me. So let's go ahead and roll, and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to start out really slow. emergency stop. Nice, smooth, complete stop. And when I did that, I applied the rear and the front brake at the same time, squeezing in a very smooth motion. You don't want to stab that brake. You don't want to stab your rear brake, because that can cause the tire to lose traction with the road itself. Okay, we'll try it again. And emergency brake. Now, one of the things that might be hard for you to get used to is actually downshifting into first gear as you're doing this. That's why you want to start out slow and practice. So I'm going to go up over here, and I'm going to actually upshift into second gear, downshift into an emergency brake at the same time. Okay, we're in second gear. Let's perform the emergency stop. Just like that. Nice and smooth. And you'll notice that the bike didn't do too much of a dive forward. Now, the front brake is always going to be, like I said, 70%, and the rear is about 30%. Well, it isn't about, that's exactly what it is. So you want to make it as smooth as possible. Also, it's super important to make sure that you have your handlebars straight. Don't be turned like this, because the tire loses traction with the road the more of an angle or the more of the turn that you're into. And there is braking that you can do for emergency braking in a curve, and if you guys are interested in that, I'll definitely go into that. Just feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to show you. But practice, guys. When you go out on your rides and things like that, take 20 minutes out of your day and go to an empty parking lot. Make sure that the parking lot is free of any debris, gravel. It's not busted up real bad. Make sure the surface is as clean as you can possibly get it. And just practice for about 20 minutes. Just take your time. And the reason that you want to downshift into first gear before you do the emergency stop is pretty simple. That way, once you're stopped, if you need to get out of the way, you're already in first gear, and you can quickly exit the situation. Safety riding and emergency braking and things like that all come with practice. It's not something that we're just naturally born with, but when you're riding and you're doing a normal stop, make sure you're applying both your front and your rear brakes at all times. When you get below about 10 miles an hour, then you can let off the front brake and just apply rear brake till you're at a complete stop. That will allow for a much smoother stop than if you stay on both the brakes, and that's during a regular stop. But during an emergency stop, the last thing you want to do is just apply one or the other, and do not stab the brakes. There's many situations where things happen to us suddenly, and if we don't have the process down to where it's like second nature to us, then we can find ourselves in a really, really bad day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's more safety videos to come. I've had this request quite a bit from a lot of people that are new to riding or just getting back into riding again, and they wanted to see some safety tips and things like that. So that's why I'm doing this. For other safety videos, you can always check out the video right down here. Other than that, everybody have a wonderful day. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching me in my shadow.